So I recently ordered Pokémon X. I've been wanting to start a new Pokemon game playthrough, and X made a lot of sense. I got Y when it first came out and really enjoyed it, but I didn't want to reset my current save file, so I decided to buy X. Also, a Kalos playthrough could be very fun right now with Legends ZA coming soon. Also, for this video, I'm going to go over my planned team. I don't know if many other people do this, but I usually plan my team out before the playthrough and usually stick with that team unless something just weird happens, like I end up finding a Pokemon I didn't realize was in the game, or I just decide I want to use a different Pokemon. Usually that's the case if like I realize a Pokemon just doesn't get a good move set or the stats aren't that good, uh, or I just end up finding a shiny and decide to use it. Also with this team, this is not supposed to be like the consensus best team or anything. It's more or less just a team of Pokemon that I personally like, that I think work well together, and usually try to fit the region. At least try to get a few Pokemon specifically from that region in the playthrough, but that's not like a requirement or anything. And also, I wanted a team that was different from my Y team, so I ended up choosing different starters than the team I chose for Y, and I'll mention all those when I get to them. Starting with the starter, or in this game, the first starter, I'm choosing Fennekin, which will become Delphox. Greninja is my personal favorite starter in this game. However, I wanted this team to have different Pokemon than my Y playthrough, and Delphox is definitely my second favorite starter in this region. Not only do I like its design, but its typing, moveset, and stats make it look like a very fun Pokemon to use, so I'm excited for Fennekin to be my starter in this region. For my second Pokemon, it will actually be a second starter. One of my personal favorite additions to any Pokemon game is in X and Y, being able to get a second starter, and at a point early enough in the game you can actually use it on your playthrough, not to mention it also being able to Mega Evolve. But the Kanto starter I'm choosing for this playthrough, it is Squirtle, which will become Blastoise. Blastoise is my second favorite Kanto starter, with Charizard being my personal favorite, but I use Charizard on my Y playthrough, and also I won't need Charizard because I'll already have a fire type on this team with Delphox. Also, I do want to mention I do really like Venusaur as well, but with my preference to Blastoise, as well as Blastoise being able to use the HM Serve in a game where you need HM users, the choice was kind of easy, honestly. Also, Blastoise will probably be my team's main Mega Evolving Pokemon, and I'm honestly not sure if I have another Pokemon that can Mega Evolve on this planned team. Now for my team's Flyer. Being one of the last games with HMs, a flying Pokemon is almost necessary, but I'm not upset about that because this is a choice I'm very excited for because I'm choosing Crobat. I personally have never used Crobat in a game, and I think this is the perfect playthrough to try it out because not only is Crobat a really good flying Pokemon in general, but with the addition of Fairy type in this game, Crobat gets even stronger, and Crobat's poison type can really be shown off and used better than in previous games. Next up, we have my favorite fossil Pokemon being Tyrantrum. I really love both fossil Pokemon in this game and think they are two of the best fossil Pokemon ever, but Tyrantrum is my favorite fossil Pokemon of all time and one of my all-time favorites in general because it combined two of my favorite things being dinosaurs and Pokemon, and the only reason I didn't have it as a main team member on my Y team was because I had Garchomp, which fills a similar role of being a strong physical attacker with similar move type coverage. The last two members of my team are actually both Eeveelutions, with one being Sylveon. I wanted to use Sylveon on my team for multiple reasons, one being it was introduced in this generation, and this was also the generation Fairy type was introduced. Also, it was my favorite new Fairy type, and might just be my favorite Fairy type in general. Also, I just really like all the Eeveelutions, and Sylveon specifically I know can be very strong, and with all the factors, I figured this was the perfect region to use Sylveon. The other evolution I plan on using on this team is Umbreon. Umbreon is my personal favorite evolution, and it fills a nice role for this team, being a nice bulkier Pokemon for both special and physical defense. And also, this Umbreon will probably have one of the most gimmicky movesets and playstyles I've used in a Pokemon game, possibly having stuff like Toxic and Double Team, while also having the item leftovers. At least that's what I currently am thinking, but I might end up changing that stuff around, and that's why I didn't put those specific details in this video. One detail I did want to mention for the evolutions is I want specifically to get a male Eevee for Umbreon and a female Eevee for Sylveon, just because I think those two genders are more fitting for each, and I like having male-female pairs of similar Pokemon on my teams. Also, I think these two fit very well together on a team with their differences in design, typing, and playstyle, while both still being evolutions. So there it is for the team members I've chosen. I'm really happy with this team. I think this team meshes really well together. We've got a lot of type diversity. I don't think we have a single Pokemon having any type overlap. Um, and then all these Pokemon, for the most part, have pretty different play styles. We've got some more offensive Pokemon. We've got some more bulkier Pokemon. Uh, just a good overall mesh of Pokemon for their play styles. And then even for like HMs, we will probably have an HM user that I will use at certain points for stuff like cut. But for like the main HMs like Surf and Fly, Blastoise will be able to surf and Crobat will be able to fly. Um, and we do have a clear Mega user in Blastoise. So all of our other Pokemon will have usable items because sometimes when I have two Megas, I'll just have Mega Stones on every Pokemon that can Mega. So all of our Pokemon should be pretty good as far as that. And I just really like how this overall team meshes. I really like each of these Pokemon individually, but think they will mesh together really well to make one really good team. Right here, I do want to mention some other heavily considered Pokemon for the team, being Charizard, Greninja, and Scolipede. These three were actually on my original plan team, and I'd even gone to the point that I made movesets and chosen items and everything. But I decided I wanted more variety than what my Y team had, and wanted to use different Pokemon that I did on that team. Also, I remembered another time I'd planned on buying X before, but didn't. And that time I had planned on using Delphox and Blastoise, which is what I decided to do on this game. Whenever I took Charizard off this team, I also decided to take Scolipede off because I needed a flyer then, and that's why I chose Crobat, so I could still have a flyer and use the poison type. Also, two other Pokemon that I heavily considered but didn't go to the point where I chose movesets and stuff for were Venusaur and Talonflame. Um, these two were both heavily considered because um, just I really had a tough decision with the Kanto starters. I really like all three and heavily considered all three, but like I mentioned previously, I just personally kind of prefer Blastoise more than Venusaur. Plus, it gave me a Surf user, so that's why I ended up choosing Blastoise. And Talonflame, just no matter what team I ended up choosing, I ended up having a Fire starter, so there was just kind of no point to have Talonflame other than just to have it as a flyer. But I personally really wanted to use a Poison type in this playthrough, and I just really wanted to use Crobat with it just being a Pokemon I've always liked, but just haven't ever used on a team. So there was just no point to really have Talonflame. So that's why these were all heavily considered, but didn't end up making the team. Right now, really quick, I'm going to mention some just details that I do have planned for the playthrough. So I do currently have planned movesets and items for each of the Pokemon on the team, but that's really up to changing. I could easily see myself changing some of the movesets and stuff, and just it would have been extra details and time that would have been on this video. So I just decided to not mention that stuff in this video. But the stuff I did use to find that stuff, I used Pokemon Database to find the moves and abilities and stuff. And for the items specifically, I used Cerebi. Also, I've decided to play on set mode. This is the first game I'm going to be playing on set mode. I've just never played on it before. I don't think it'll be that much of a difficulty spike, and I know X and Y is one of the easier games, and especially with the EXP share and stuff, I just don't feel as bad about it. But I'm excited to try playing on set mode just because I've never done it before. And one other big thing, this is kind of for the channel. The other stuff isn't I guess that important for the actual video, but I'm kind of leaning to playing this game on the channel. I know it won't look great since I don't have a great way to record off my 2DS. I'll pretty much just be recording from my phone, the screen of my 2DS, which I know won't look great, but that's kind of what I'm planning on doing as of right now. But if it looks really bad, I probably won't end up doing it. But yeah, that's all the planned stuff for this game. I'm really quickly here at the end. Well, I don't know how quickly, but I'm gonna show the actual game and unboxing it. But yeah, that's it for most of the playthrough. So yeah, now we'll get into the actual unboxing of the game. Okay, so here we are. We're going to be unboxing it. Two things I did really want to quickly mention. So I did pick this up on eBay, and it was $34.99 with free shipping, but with tax and stuff, it ended up being a little more, so a little under 40. And also, this is the UAE version. My Y was just the regular one that you picked up at GameStop, but what I've heard is the UAE version goes to some other country, but it's also an English country. So the game itself is actually in English, and the game itself is actually pretty much the exact same as the normal X would be. But that's the only difference. And this was labeled as a brand new sealed one, so we'll also be checking that stuff out. But yeah, really excited. This was this was definitely probably one of my favorite of the 3D games. This and Oros, whatever, the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Definitely the Gen 6 3D games were some of my personal favorites of the 3D Pokemon games. Okay, but yeah, let's just open this bad boy. Yep, so there we go, Pokemon X. And we'll put it in my 2DS real quick. But yeah, it looks great. Happy to have this game. And we'll compare the cartridges real quick just to see if there's any differences in the US version and the UAE version. Okay, so here we have my Pokemon Y, and here's the X. And I will note, I know on eBay you can buy like knockoffs of the original games, but the 3DS games, I don't know if there's many people that have made knockoffs, but there probably is, but I haven't seen it before. But yeah, the game looks fine from everything I can see. But yeah, we'll put it in my 2DS real quick and see. I know a lot of people played on the 3DS, but for some reason I ended up getting a 2DS instead. But yeah, we'll test it out real quick, and the next video on this channel might actually be the playthrough, and I'm still not 100% sure how this playthrough will go, or even if we will for sure do the playthrough. But yeah, looking so good so far. Really happy with this. I'm just so happy to finally play a new Pokemon game. I know I said new playthrough at the beginning, and that didn't mean like starting like a new like brand new game, obviously, because you have to wait on those, but like just starting a new playthrough. But yeah, it looks good. I guess the UAE version you can almost do any language, which is pretty cool. But yeah, obviously we're doing English. Yeah, once your language has been changed, you cannot change it. Yeah, everything looks great though. Okay, yeah, I think we're all set. Yeah, so the next video will probably be my first like bit of gameplay for Pokemon X. And I do know, I guess it could be kind of unfortunate to know the team already, so that kind of spoils it, but there could definitely be some changes, and you also will get the excitement of like learning the movesets. And like I said, if I do end up finding a shiny probably through the playthrough, that'll probably end up on the team some way or another. But yeah, really excited for this. I really love Pokemon X. Unfortunately, the only bad thing is the recording, it'll probably be something like this, so I know it's not going to look amazing, but I still think it'll be fun. And you know, maybe if this series does well on the channel, we could do like a ROM game or something where I can just record it, like maybe the Switch, you can do that. But that's pretty much it. Once again, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'm so excited to play this game. Just been wanting to play a new Pokemon game for a while, and X and Y is just a really fun one to me. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching up until this point, and I'm out.